Welcome to the weekend edition, guys. Thank you for joining us. As you can see, we've got an all-star cast here today. The lovely Jenny Morris is back.
Happy New Year.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You went on a cruise?
I did.
Yeah? And how was it?
It was very relaxing.
Yeah?
Yes.
How was the food?
The food. Lovely
Was it
fresh
good?
ingredients, yes.
Really?
I like hogged. They had this huge big wheel of Parmesan. I got into it and I hogged it.
Okay. All right. I would think that you couldn't eat at other restaurants.
I
Like you would
can't.
find yourself criticizing.
No, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad,
at
okay.
all. No, it was all good.
All right. And then we've got entrepreneur extraordinaire Marnus Broodryk. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Chair.
Yeah? One of South Africa's best and brightest entrepreneurs. Yeah? You're going to teach us how to become millionaires?
I hope so.
Yeah? All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And of course, flautist Wouter Kellerman, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Jared.
Yeah?
Happy to be here.
Have you been traveling a lot or?
Lots and lots of traveling.
Yeah?
Yes, last year I didn't spend more than 2 weeks in any one continent at a time. So it was pretty hectic, but fun.
Really?
Yeah, I'm getting a bit tired of it now, but I love what I do. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you have a Grammy. What's going on in the dining room?
Thank you for asking. Joe, I'm hanging out with Tom, which is a great photographer. He's going to hang out with us to talk about his pictures and meeting different people. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
And designer extraordinaire, a man that makes men look amazing. My lady, welcome to the show.
Delighted.
Did you bring a bag full of outfits?
Jeez, a collection.
A collection. That's interesting. Well, guys, before we start the show, let's start off with an amazing performance by Wouter. Here we go.
This is a song I wrote called Wind, and it has Spanish and reggae influences.
There you go, man. We've got many more performances from Wouter coming up later on in the show, and one or two other surprises. Weekend edition, we'll be right back.
After the break, entrepreneur Marnus Broodryk shares how he became a millionaire at age 22 and what drives his success in business.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
Welcome back to the weekend edition. I'm sitting here with entrepreneur extraordinaire, Marnus Broodryk, right?
That's pretty much it.
Started your first business at the age of 14.
Yes,
Self-made millionaire by 22.
they say so.
Oh, they say so. Do they say first, is it million rand or $1 million?
Well, the currency is always an issue, and looking back to it now, it's the fluffy stuff.
Right, okay. And you have basically you're a serial entrepreneur, correct? Is that the best way to describe what you do?
I've done a couple of businesses, but I've done one big business. So I won't really say a serial entrepreneur. I've invested in small businesses, made them big businesses,
Yeah.
and I've grown one big business myself.
All right, you're the founder of the Bean Counter.
That's right.
Which was, is it JSE listed or it was sold to a JSE listed
So
company?
last year, a Transaction Capital that's listed on the JSE, they bought a majority stake in the Bean Counter.
Okay, what is the Bean Counter?
So the Bean Counter is an accounting firm. We help SMEs with their accounting function. If you can't afford a full-time accountant or you're not big enough, you get us in, you outsource everything to us, we help you.
And is it all digital? Is it just...
All digital, all in the cloud. We use great software, Zero. The business owners, we're working on the same information on the web.
Right, wow. And what's been the uptake? Like how much usage have you... Firstly, when did you start the company and what's the growth of the business been like since then?
So it's funny, I started Bean Counter 8 years ago already, but the real uptake was in the last 2 years.
Isn't that how it is? Like for 5-6 years, you're just like, people are like, what are you doing?
Exactly, people look at it now and they're like, wow, it's an overnight success, but it's not. There was 6 years of a lot of hard work, and then the last 2 years we really got it to a great company.
What was the main delay to getting it into that 6th year where it was just like, okay, now we're taking off?
I think the one big mistake that I did as an entrepreneur, I think as an entrepreneur you get all these ideas and you get so excited about the ideas, and it seems to be easy in the beginning and you think it's going to be easy, but it never is. And you need to have focus, and that's one thing I didn't have. I tried all these little things without putting focus into one big project, and I think 2 years ago I put a lot of focus into it and we did it.
Right, so you basically closed everything off and then you just said, listen, I'm going to work on this thing. And what's the take-up been like as far as customers? Because that's the hard part. It's one thing to have an idea. It's a whole other thing to actually get the customers to buy in and begin buying the product or service.
Yeah, for sure. We built a great scalable business in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So on a global scale, Zero, which is the software we use, they're on 1 million users now.
Okay.
We as an accounting firm, we've had great growth. So despite of the economic times, we've been growing 100% year on year.
Wow.
So it's been a great time.
Wow. Okay. And do you have any big companies coming on and signing on, or is it just all SMEs?
We focus on the SMEs. Some of the big corporates, they want to come to us, but we don't allow them. We feel passionate about the SME market, and that's what we help.
Now, we were just talking now during the break. You are part of a panel of sharks on an international TV show, reality show. I was always curious to find out, as a shark, do you have to invest your own money, or is there a pool of money provided to you guys to invest in businesses?
Yeah, so people always think that we get money, and I wish we did, because it would have been a whole lot easier making those decisions. But we actually use our own money, so we need to make really good decisions into the businesses that we buy. So the entrepreneurs, they get onto the show, they pitch their business, and we invest in the business, and that's our own money.
And so how much money did you have to part with season 1?
So I invested in 3 businesses, and it was just over 1.2 million.
So you had to take 1.2 million out of your own account and pray.
That's exactly what it was. After the show, I actually invested a whole lot more into those 3. So that was a commitment on the show. But one of the businesses, they're really flying, so it justified putting more money into it. So it's a risk that you take, but in my case, it paid off.
Right. And I mean, whenever you invest in different businesses, I mean, I know like in private equity and venture capital, usually only 10 or 20% of your investments actually pan out. Although all the investments you've made usually had very good potential uptake and growth, et cetera, et cetera. So that's quite a risk.
Yeah, in the venture capital space, they reckon 1 out of 10 or maybe 1 out of 20, depending on industry, businesses will actually take off. I like to take a business that's already got traction. So if you're already doing $1 million, I can help you get to 10 million. But if you're just starting out and you've got zero revenue, the risk of failing is really high, and I tend not to get involved.
All right. And what's your take on the state of entrepreneurship in South Africa? I mean, are we an entrepreneurial country, or do we have a long way to go?
I think we are an entrepreneurial country. I think the spirit of entrepreneurship in South Africa is alive and well. I think everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. It's like the rock stars of the 70s, 80s. Everyone wants to be one.
Yeah.
But I don't think everyone's getting it right, and I think the lacking element there is education. So people want to be one, but they don't know how to be one.
Yeah, and what aspect of education? Like, what is I mean, you're an accountant. Most people would not have an accounting background. What area do you think what type of training do you think people could benefit from?
Can we change my thing to rather be an entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur.
Can we agree on that?
Well, what I meant was your background
No,
is in
understand.
accounting, and I mean, you studied accounting, right?
Yeah,
and
I did.
You did articles and.
Yeah, Joe, I think you can go and study whatever you want to do, but that won't make you a successful entrepreneur. I think a successful entrepreneur is made in the office and putting in the hard work and trying out different things and see if it's working or not. I think people, aspiring entrepreneurs, they think if they've got an idea, then they've got a business, but it's far away from an idea to a successful business.
Yeah,
it's
to a going concern. Yeah, it's completely different.
For sure. So I think you need to get out there and you need to start doing your own thing, and that's the only way that you can really learn.
Right. All right. So what's next for you? What are you working on? What's happening in your brain?
My brain. So last year we sold to Transaction Capital, and for the very first time in my life, I had to sign an employee contract.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so I'm an employee now.
And can I ask how much they bought the business for?
So we haven't disclosed that amount. There's a lot of speculation going out. We haven't disclosed it on any side.
Okay.
It's been said as the highest valued accounting firm for one partner that has ever been sold.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
All right.
We're not disclosing
worldwide
that.
Or in South Africa?
No, in South Africa.
Okay.
So I've signed a contract to work for the company as CEO. I still own a share in it. So for the next 3 years, we're going to grow that company really big. We're going to help SMEs. We're going to finance them and fund them and help growth and the economy in South Africa.
All right, brilliant, man. Well, listen, you're going to stick around. We're going to talk to you some more and pick your brain and hopefully learn how to be better entrepreneurs. But right now, we're going to take a short break. Marnus Broodryk will still be with us. We'll be in the kitchen cooking. We're going to talk with some of our guests today. The Weekend Edition returns just after this.
Coming up, romance is cooking in the kitchen as celebrity chef Jenny Morris prepares decadent salmon-filled Valentine love bites.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
All right, welcome back, guys. Weekend Edition in the kitchen. It looks like we got a bunch of stiff men in the kitchen, eh?
They look quite stiff, yeah.
Do you guys cook? No. Hopeless.
Try occasionally.
But Luana, you don't cook?
No.
At all?
No, why?
I don't believe you.
Why?
I cook up a storm at home, so I'm gonna break this trend. Jenny, let's teach them something. What do we? Firstly, today we're cooking aphrodisiacs, right?
Yes, we are. We're cooking food that fuels your libido.
Ooh.
Look at you.
Huh? So if your libido is a little bit low, this will.
You actually get the blood flowing and pumping through those veins.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
So let's get started.
All right, what we're going to do is something very nice and light, because light is romantic. Am I right? You don't want like this big belly doing its thing. So here, we're going to add some water. We're doing a choux pastry.
Okay.
Joe, do me a favor. Get the butter in, darling.
All right.
Pop that butter in.
Okay. No, Jenny's got very fancy
There we go.
bowls and...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. I can't believe none of you guys cook. Like, if you're alone at home and you're hungry, what do you do?
Dal.
Beans on toast cooking?
Beans on toast, that is the worst. Okay.
It's healthy. So, you're number one. Come to mama. And you, sir, are number two.
Okay.
So come to mama. What you're going to do is, while Joe's busy doing this, we're making a choux pastry, and it's got a couple of elements. It's got flour, water, butter, and eggs. So we want that to start boiling.
Okay.
So Joe, while that boils, the minute that starts boiling, you tip in the flour and you...
Do I need to make sure it doesn't clump, or I just pour it in and just go?
Pour it in and
All
you
right.
keep stirring. You, my darling, I'm going to make your life easy. Stand over here.
Right.
Right, says he. Right. Yes, right.
It's kind of like making a dress, what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Not even.
Yeah.
It is. So we're going to start paint by numbers.
Right.
What you're going to do is you're going to add the cheese.
Yes.
You're going to add the sour cream to that.
Okay.
Now, you might want to know what is... Everyone thinks oysters.
Now,
What does it
that's
for
my favorite.
you?
That's salmon, isn't it?
Salmon's good.
That's
Salmon is such an
We live for
aphrodisiac. It's all
We
the
love
omegas.
salmon.
It's all the omegas.
We live for
Yes.
But that's
Well,
smoked
there we
salmon,
go.
right?
That's smoked salmon, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so now do what Mama says.
Okay.
Put that in.
it. What do I use? Is the utensil
There we go.
something?
And
Fantastic.
can you chop?
Is it all of this?
I'm not a
I
great
know you
chopper, but
can
I can do the
blow.
basics.
Can you do the
I am
basics?
coordinated.
Okay, so I'm a bit nervous of you.
Are we using all of this now?
All of it.
Fantastic.
I'm a greedy girl. I want it all. Okay. I'm really nervous of you. So I'm going to do the chopping.
Yes,
and you're going to
please.
do the assembly.
Yes, please.
Yeah, he needs his
Fennel.
fingers.
Yes, he does.
Fennel. Look at the shape of this bulb. If you look at the shape of the fennel bulb, this is very good. It produces
Jenny, you won't
lots of
believe this.
estrogen.
We tasted fennel for the first time just a few weeks
A few
ago.
weeks ago.
Really?
Like a week or
Yeah.
two ago. Yeah, I'd never tasted fennel.
Ever.
I put fennel in my veggie juices.
It's
Oh, really?
I do green
Yeah.
veggie juices and I put
Wonderful.
fennel in
Oh, so
there.
you're not so bad.
But
You
have you
know,
ever
I
had
like the
fennel?
veggie juice.
No.
You see, he's
So you
never.
put
Can you
that
give
in
him?
the tube,
Can you give him a piece
Salt
of
and
fennel?
pepper?
Okay.
Jenny, he's never tried it. Okay, here we go.
baby. It's got a lovely
Have a piece.
licorice flavour.
Yes.
Can I use my hands for
Of
this?
course you can, darling.
Delicious.
And then add that to it, and then add that to it. Okay. Joe, how are you doing there?
It's boiling now.
One time, all. That's my boy. Yeah. Isn't
Is
it
this what they-
delicious?
It's delicious.
Does it
Isn't it
suffice?
delicious?
Are we hoying in everything?
Okay, then put the cheese in. Okay, so we've got celery as well. Celery, believe it or not, is another aphrodisiac. It's very good. I mean, you can come to.
You see how Kanye sparks up when you told her that.
Yeah,
She
but-
don't need
Okay,
any
Jenny.
food.
What do I do now? Do I take it off?
No, keep stirring till it comes together in a nice little ball, then switch it off.
Oh, okay.
It's like making pop.
It's
It
like making
is.
pop, yeah.
That just smells
Doesn't
divine.
it smell delicious? Now we're going to put this gorgeous
crazy.
fennel in it and some of this celery, another aphrodisiac food. This is packed. You're going to be
We
walking
love
funny
celery.
after this.
Jenny, is it a ball now or more?
Beautiful, Joe.
Keep going, or are we done?
Switch off the heat.
All right.
And now we're going to go one egg at a time, Joe. Put one egg at a time. Here we go. Just
I gotta, you know me and the stove.
oh, there you
It's
go,
too fancy for
Bring
me.
it back.
All right. One egg at a time.
One egg at a time and stir the living life out of it.
Oh boy. All
I'm
right.
glad you didn't make me cut because that looks very professional the way you
No,
did.
it's not really. I'm just a girl that cooks.
It actually looks scary.
Yeah. We've got some dill, beautiful dill.
Makes me
There's
feel
dill
very
and
uncomfortable
salmon.
when you don't look at your fingers as you're
Absolutely right.
I feel it in my fingers. So
How
we
many
wanna
eggs
just-
in total, Jenny?
As you, we'll do all 4. As you get each one in, you put the next one in.
Okay.
And maybe some more chai, okay? Delicious. And the cheese, you can go in with the cheese now.
Can go in a little bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah, with the cheese. Nice. All of it.
But I didn't know that cheese is also an aphrodisiac. Seriously.
You didn't know what an aphrodisiac was.
The main element.
Good job there, Joe. Good job, eh? Good
I'm
job.
doing the most. Here.
The cheese itself is not the aphrodisiac, but it's
In a
salmon.
jacket.
Yeah.
And
Right?
it's the
In a
other
jacket,
fennel,
I've never.
and it's the celery. Okay, now what we're going to do is just, I've already made some. Joe, another egg, darling.
But what are these, Jenny?
These are little eclairs. You can, any shape you like. Once this beautiful dough, it's a choux pastry dough, once that is made, you could make profiterole shape. You can,
Yes.
you know, the croque and bush, you know, the wedding cake that people like.
Yes.
You can make any shape you like with this. And now I'm going to put some little picante pepper. You know what a picante pepper is?
No.
It's a pepper dew. So they're heart-shaped, and they kind of suit the month of love.
It just looks so mesmerizing. Exercise.
There you go, darling. Now, this is where you're going to earn your breakfast, lunch,
I'm
and
standing
supper.
by. Standing by.
Between the two of you, you're going to I'm going to give you spoons, and on either side, I've put a bit of lemon zest or some. You can even put, if you want to, you can put a bit of lime zest in it. I don't know if I trust you to zest this because you might get pith in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what the pith is?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the white stuff.
Are you okay there, Joe?
Hey,
Joe's doing so well. Joe, now, darling, don't be
Faster,
scared of
Joe,
it. Just
faster.
beat it. Beat it, Joe. It's got to all go in.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm beating it, Jenny. I'm beating it.
Yeah, smell the smell.
Very inviting.
Do you
we
see?
love.
It's just like simple things. Said the magic
Simple
word.
and fresh.
There we go. Okay, now spoons.
All right, Jenny, I've beaten the daylights out of this.
I'm so happy. I am happy to hear
How's
this.
that?
It looks beautiful, and I will just let it cool down before we
Thank
use
you,
it.
Joe.
Come and stand next to me here.
This side.
I'll do one, and you guys can finish the rest, okay?
Is that part we're gonna taste?
This is a pie. My fingers love my face, but now I've got to wash them. Okay, and then you just take a little piece of salmon like that. Pop it on.
That's a very fancy thing you did there. with the
It's
salmon.
not. You see, that's the whole thing. I mean, you can blow. You know how to use your fingers.
Okay.
And it is just so simple. Look at that. Wow. Absolute simplicity. So, this is number one.
Great.
And then just go down there. So you carry on with that. And you, my darling, I know you're vegetarian. You're a vegan?
Yes.
You don't do cheese then, do you?
When I'm outside the house, I actually do
Do you?
animal products. When I'm inside the house, I can
because
maintain it.
Of course you can.
I'm not in my house, so
Can I give you a bit of cheese?
yeah, let's go for it.
I'd love you to try it.
I'll try it.
Okay. I'll keep cutting. You're not touching this knife.
Special fingers.
Special fingers. Would you like to try one?
Sure.
Oh,
yeah.
good. Oh,
But
good.
Tom is actually also vegetarian, so he's going to skip the salmon.
You don't do the salmon?
I'm pescatarian. But
Oh, pescatarian. Oh,
he's
so he
using
can have
his-
the fish.
Well, he's using his entrepreneurial skills to try and convert me to being vegetarian. So I've made a promise to him now.
From today.
Yeah,
Yes.
apparently.
From now on. Okay, keep going. Why don't you put the salmon, you do the cream cheese. Maybe that will...
okay, yeah.
Yeah, we work like a factory.
Yes.
Hey, factory's good.
Fabulous.
This is looking good. This is looking good. There are lots of wonderful... can you? No, you don't do dairy at all,
I don't do
sweetheart.
dairy at all.
See.
Yes,
Tough
we have
customers.
fussy side.
Three of us.
Piece of salmon on
They're very
it.
annual.
Someone on that and I'm happy.
And why?
We don't do carbs.
We don't do
Lactose.
Give it.
Joe. Carbs.
All
Give me
right.
that wooden spoon.
What are we going to do with this now?
Okay, that we're going to just leave it. I just wanted to keep you busy. No, my sweetheart.
All right. On that note, we're going to take a short break, guys. Don't forget that our recipes are on our Facebook page. The Weekend
this
Edition
one goes
continues
to-
after this.
Yeah.
Still ahead on the Weekend Edition, it's all about fashion with designer Paledi Sekapo, and Brett Rogers goes on the hunt for great street style with Armand Dicker.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
Welcome back. When it comes to fashion, you surely have my attention. So he's known as a designer, but little do people really know that he is a, what should I say, a Lysoff, help me, what's the word?
Former lecturer.
Former lecturer. I don't want to use the word lecturer because I wasn't sure.
Yes, I used to lecture. Yeah.
So you totally understand what fashion is about.
Yeah, and corporate. Remember, before I deviated into the fashion industry, I worked as a strategist for PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Oracle. So I'm one of those guys that possess both the attributes of corporate world and the creative space.
And you can make an outfit from scratch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But is it
Self-taught.
important, because there are designers apparently that conceptualize on an idea, but they don't make the garment.
Well, look, after a while, you cannot be hands-on. You have to delegate. And, you know, to construct a garment is time-consuming, especially if you're a perfectionist and you want to achieve meticulous workmanship that can take forever. So I
But
don't
Paledi,
touch
people
this
don't
anymore.
cut the same. You may cut for me in a way that I like it, but
Yeah.
the people that work for you may not cut the same way.
No, absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head there. Totally true.
So is it safe for a designer to get someone else to do that?
I think as you grow and you have a vision to become bigger, of course, you've got to grow your army.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now you write for Sunday Sun. I mean, you write now a fashion column.
Yes, indeed.
What is it based on?
Well, it's basically about fashion, but we don't just write about like the do's and don'ts. I try incorporate what is current and basically also try teach people and give them business savvy, particularly the creative people. For instance, my column is coming out in February. It's about creative entrepreneurs that don't understand the business of fashion. And the caption for my column, I call it "Talent is not enough," because a lot of creative people, especially the emerging ones, I never want to call them young designers,
Yes.
but I prefer to call them emerging. They really never comprehend that this is a very shrewd business, and
It
if you
is.
don't have the right attributes of being a creative entrepreneur, you're as good as yesterday.
Talking about shrewd, I mean, a lot of designers used to incorporate and give us styles, but now with social media where people can go on and find any garment that they want.
How stunning.
And, you know, does that affect the business?
Well, I wouldn't say it affects the business, but it kind of stimulates everybody to come out of their comfort space because the
see.
world is moving at a rapid pace right now. So you sleep, you'll wake up tomorrow and you'll be extinct like a dinosaur or something.
Yes. So where are we in terms of fashion now in South Africa?
Well, it's always dangerous to say this, but it's the truth of the matter. South Africa/Africa, we don't set the trends. Okay, the big four fashion weeks,
Exactly.
it starts in London, then it goes to Milan, and then it goes to New York, so Paris, then New York, then it comes to us. So they basically showcase a season before us because they've got longer winters and short summers.
Yes.
So by the time we actually catch up with the trends, those trends have already been, they basically have trickled down already.
Yes.
As a result, I wouldn't say we set the trends, but we gravitate a lot of inspiration. A lot of designers come here for inspiration. From the Michael Kors, you know, Michael Kors loves animal print to
Louis Vuitton with
to
our
Louis Vuitton,
blankets.
everybody, yeah.
Yes.
So we basically feed them with inspiration, but we also absorb from them in terms of what is coming and what is unfolding.
So as a designer, how do you try and fit into the global space in terms of your fashion designing?
Well, as a designer, you have constantly got to keep your ear on the ground and basically be able to forecast. Because at the end of the day, what people don't realize is us as designers, in as much we come up with our own signature and
Yes.
the type of clothes people should wear, but there's kind of like a very invisible trend that someone sets out there,
Yes.
and that trend, it actually ends up affecting all of us,
Yes.
and therefore we all have to be in synergy. For instance, if the big guys can decide that this year we're all doing bell bottoms, you go into retail space, there's that kind of like similarity.
Yes.
Remember with color blocking also how it
Yes,
happened?
like these arms now are coming in and pants
Bell
this
arms,
way.
yes,
Yes.
and the see-through dresses. So there's kind of like a brief that is out there. So as a designer, you have got to be able to
Enhance what's there.
To enhance, indeed, and still bring in your signature though, because you don't want to do a copy and paste, because that's
With
very
you.
deadly.
Well, it's February now, the month of love. And I mean, I see this mannequin and it is a very sensual and very sexy dress.
Yes.
What is the inspiration with this and how would you describe such a garment?
Well, let me firstly unpack it as follows. In my business, I specialize on menswear.
Yes.
The guy that does my ladies line, Brian Small, he's the one that focuses in this area. But basically what's happening, if you look at the trends right now, we've done away with the tissue weight, curtain dresses,
Yes.
those see-through dresses. I think they just deserve to be brand or something. We're going very minimalistic, but the emphasis now is around the shoulder line and also on the sleeves. So if you look at the trends right now, everybody's exposing their shoulder line
Yes.
and doing this whole bell situation going on.
Yes.
So, previously the emphasis was from the waist going down, and now it has gone up. And also what's happening with the silhouette is becoming very clean.
True.
It's becoming very minimalistic, like the Parisians.
Wow. So where would a woman wear such a dress?
Well, a dress like this, obviously, it's a floor-length dress. You've got to go to a very très chic event to wear
Yes.
something like
Yes.
this. You can't be seen during the day wearing that. That's not ready to wear. And I find that's what makes good clothes. Good clothes, they look distinctive when they actually not ready to wear, because ready to wear, half of the time, it looks more or less the same. It's like walking into an elephant park.
You've
you see
dressed-
an elephant, you've seen all.
You've seen all of them, but you've dressed big names in the country. I mean, Mr. Red Mike himself, Donald, you've
Yes, he's
changed
my
his
official
style.
ambassador.
Yes, you've changed his style. You've
Thank
given
you.
him a tone to his persona. I mean, I look at Abu Putvusi and all these men that you put your hands on, Case Beer, are men that you really give them a tone in terms of being a gentleman.
AKA.
And you once said to me that haute couture, it's a word that you can't stand.
Yes.
Are you still in that
I
mode?
think it is used very negligently.
Yes.
And perhaps people don't comprehend what haute couture is. And I'll unpack it again.
Yes.
Haute couture simply means it's a once-off garment that was done by hand-stitched. No machinery that was utilized in the process. And that garment, it can only be produced in Paris. Only the Parisians, they do haute couture. Nobody else does. Couture is this, but haute couture is one of a kind.
So it's like champagne.
Absolutely, Champagne Valley in France.
In France.
And yeah, there you go, Dali.
There I go, right? Well, I know that you've brought a model with you today
Right.
to actually share with us some of your designs for
Yes.
men, which is interesting. I'd like to bring him in, and I'd like you to tell us in detail what
This
this
is my
about.
favorite look. It's an award-winning look, by the way.
Yes.
We showcased this in Durban last year at the Durban Fashion Fair. And basically what's happening with the trends, what's his name is going to kill me? Solo. Solo
Yes.
wore this at the GQ Awards, and he was voted best dressed that night at the GQ
I
Awards.
remember this.
2015,
I remember,
yeah.
yes.
So what inspired this look, basically, we've moved in a bubble now called the fluid trend. The fluid trend means the clothes are becoming very gender neutral.
Yes.
For instance, what you can see here with Abel, he's wearing a dress shirt.
Yes.
And a lady can wear that without the pants and the blazer. A guy obviously can wear that. And you look at what's happening internationally, someone like Jaden Smith, very much fluid
Yes,
guy.
yes.
He's the brand ambassador for that big brand.
Correct, correct.
And he's not a brand ambassador for menswear, but
Yeah.
for ladies wear, which is
True.
quite weird,
It's
isn't it?
weird.
So this is where the trend is right now, a very, very intimidating trend, I think, for people who are not very fashion conscious. But you got to move on with the times, you know, especially being a designer, you can't afford to be in a very comfort space. You always have to be provocative and make people angry.
So
'Cause
what do you
someone-
do when a man, like a butch man comes in and...
What's that?
No, but I'm just saying, according to society,
I
a
follow,
butch
yeah.
man comes in and you whip this out.
Yeah.
Do you first need to work on them psychologically
Look.
to get them to understand where you're going?
Geez, you know, your question, Kanye, is one of the most amazing questions that I like, because what people normally don't realize is there's a difference between a stylish looking person
Yes.
and a trend chaser.
Yes.
Or a fashionista. This
Yes.
is for fashionistas. But someone, so-called bushman that comes, I will look at them, and if they strike me as someone who's conservative, like Bravos Kunene, is a very conservative, quintessential person. He knows what he wants. I wouldn't put him in something like that, but I will give him something that is timeless, that is classic.
Yes.
Whereas this, it comes and goes. 2 years later, no one's going to be dressed like that.
It ages quick.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. You can catch him every Sunday on the newspaper, Sunday Sun, giving you fashion advice. As he said that we're moving into a fluid space, so it is good to always try and find out what the trends are. Thank you so much. Please hang around.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Speaking of clothing, you know that we always have our weekend where we try and inspire and help you find things to wear on the street. Amanda Dicker hung out with our own Mabr and took a spin to try and find what's happening with street style. Let's check it out.
The leafy suburb of Greenside in Joburg is known for its restaurants, coffee shops and jacaranda trees. It's also where fashion designer Armand Dicker has chosen to go style spotting. Armand, what is it about Greenside that brings you here? Why do you come to Greenside?
Well, it's really not that busy anymore, so there's always parking. So basically I come to Greenside because I feel like it's a lot more toned down now. So there aren't too many people, you can be yourself, you can be relaxed. No one's gonna judge you. Good food, good drinks, and not too many cool people.
So when I look at your style now, I'm reminded of the 80s. I know it says Thompson 97, but it really feels, you know, the stonewash with the high-waisted jeans. Is that what you're going for?
Well, I'm definitely channeling a bit of a late 80s, early 90s. I believe in this term called clothes cognition. And it's basically the theory that your mood determines what you're going to wear every day, but you don't really know it. When I'm happy, I tend to wear more black. And then when I'm feeling a bit down, then I'll bring a bit of color into it.
Almost to adjust your mood a bit.
Yeah, also these balls. Like when I'm feeling a bit like not there, like not really there, I'll bring in some color.
When I see your design for your brand Dicker, I feel like there's a solid antagonistic millennial feel. Is that something that you're going for?
Well, yeah, I think I want to leave an impression. That's the key. Okay, obviously I believe that I have a voice and I have something to say, because I always have something to say. I talk all the time. But I just want to shock people. I feel like the shock factor has been lost a bit. I believe like you can be bold but understated. I love monochrome because something could be all black or all red, but your silhouettes could be really bold.
What do you look for when you're looking for stylish people?
I'm looking for people who don't really follow trends, but like they should rather like pull references from things and make it their own.
Well, on the weekends, I like to walk around and look for beautiful people. Shall we do that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. In addition to being a celebrated young menswear designer, Armand is also a fashion model. This has helped inform his keen eye for unique street style. So we walked into this beautiful restaurant and spotted this guy sitting at the table, and we had to take him away from his meeting. I don't know why he's having meetings on a weekend, but I thought he looked awesome. Dude, who are you? What's your name? And tell us about your style.
I'm Adam Edelstein. Yeah, super into fashion. I got a whole lot of different like inspirations, like lots of international dudes. Obviously, like Kanye West, Ian Connor, A$AP Rocky, all those homies. Yeah, no, they're big into that stuff.
Those are some beautiful references. I love those references. And the knitted jersey, I mean, it's beautiful. Armand, tell us what you think.
Okay, so I really like the grayscale element of this outfit, and I really like the knit too, and especially the shoes. It just ties it all together. Yeah, looks really cool.
My style, I think today is a bit more sporty, which is usually what I like to wear. I like to be comfortable, and leggings are key. I love leggings. And baggy top, jacket. This is my favorite handbag. It doesn't go with everything all the time, but I love it.
Okay, so basically the first thing that caught my eye were obviously the stripes, but I really like the pirates and the local, but bringing a bit of like making it your own, making it localization, you know.
So sometimes you have to go off the streets to find the beautiful fashion, and we found this beautiful young woman in this incredible dress. Tell us who you are and what informs your style.
I'm Sbosh. This is like an Afrocentric African wear.
What are you thinking about when you get dressed in the morning?
I choose this dress normally. This is how I wear like Monday to Friday. It's free. It's as you can see, it's summer now, and it's really refreshing.
Okay, so I really like how the nudes in her shoes pick up with some of the particles in the print that you're wearing. Also, I like that this is an African print, but it has a surrealist element to it. So yeah, I really like that.
Tell us about your style, man.
Yeah, do meet my name, Jens. Yeah, I'm 23 years old. I stay here at Greenside. Yeah, I like fashion. I like clothes. I have a couple of sneakers at home. Mswenko is my thing. Yeah.
Armand, tell us what you like about it.
Well, I really like that. I see the Sphectacula elements, and it's really, you've made it your own, and it's still youthful, and it's not necessarily just a suit with mismatching shoes or like, but I do see the socks, and I also like your distressed denims, really nice.
We love it when a man pays attention to himself. It's those little details, you know, when you're getting dressed in the morning, think about those little details. This man has got it. Send us your outfits, we want to see them. Hashtag the Weekend Edition. Peace.
So I'd like to know what your style is. Remember that you can send an email to hello@weekendeditiontv.com. I'd like to see your pictures and inspiration. Remember, it's hashtag the Weekend Edition, social media, and everywhere else. See you now.
After the break, see a love and passion for music personified as Grammy Award-winning flautist Wouter Kellerman dazzles with an ethereal performance.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Weekend Edition. I'm sitting here across from Grammy Award-winning flautist. I always find the word flautist is such a weird, fancy.
And some people say flautist, some people say flautist.
Flautist.
Other people say flutist.
Right.
So it's a big confusing issue.
You've been playing the flute since you were 10 years old. Wouter Kellerman, by the way. You've been playing the flute since you were 10.
Many years.
Did you start at school, or was it private lessons? Were your parents musicians?
They weren't musicians, but my mom and my dad encouraged us. They took us to a symphony orchestra concert and said, what would you like to play? And I just...
Oh, wow. So you had to pick...
Yeah, and then I thought the clarinet looked nice. My brother picked it quickly, so it was already gone. And we weren't allowed to pick the same instrument.
Oh, wow.
So then I thought, well, the flute is a wind instrument, which appealed to me because you express yourself with your breath.
Yes.
Like talking or singing.
Right.
And I thought the flute points that way and everything else points this way, so it's probably special.
At 10 years old, that's what you were thinking?
So I'm thinking, that's probably a special instrument. Let me choose that one.
Okay, so your brother took the clarinet, and what made you take it so seriously, or was it just?
You know, maybe it's the way I started, because my teacher was sick the first week, and I wasn't allowed to put the flute together because my parents were worried I'd break it. So
what is it like? Is it like 2 or 3 pieces?
It is.
This tip, tip? Yeah, right.
It is, but you know, so every day I would just open it and look at it for a week. Every day I just look at it and I'm wondering, how does it fit together? What does it sound like? How am I? And then by the time I had my first lesson, I was raring to go.
Pumped, yeah.
So after my first lesson, I came back home and practiced for 3 hours the first day. And then it just started, and my teacher was extremely encouraging. She was lovely. And unfortunately, I only had a year with her, but she made a huge difference to me. You know, she was very encouraging. And I don't remember her name and lost contact.
You haven't seen her since?
And it's so sad because I would love to thank her.
Maybe she's probably... What school was that?
Well, I was in Linden. I was in Lougeldenhuis.
Right. I used to spend a lot of time in Linden, yeah.
But this was at the Randburg High School. It was it was separate music lessons. It wasn't part of school.
Oh, I see. Okay, wow.
So there was a music center at Randburg High School.
Yeah.
And I went there in the afternoons and had lessons, and it was just...
Wait, did that continue, the playing 3 hours a day?
It continued. I just absolutely loved it from the first day, and I just wanted to play. And I think it's such a great thing because, you know, you learn from an early age that if you can't do something, you practice.
Yes.
And then you can do
good.
it.
Yeah.
And then you get good, and that pattern starts in your brain, and then whatever in your life that you try that you can't do, you know
that if you practice you eventually get somewhere. Yeah.
And to me, that's sort of an obvious thing, but many people don't find it obvious. Like
they get discouraged early.
Yeah. Many years later, I'm also an electronic engineer. I ended up studying engineering, and I had my own engineering company.
Just hang on for a second. So, not to cut you off, as a kid, I played the viola and the saxophone.
Oh, okay.
Right? And I also studied electrical engineering.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so I'm listening to your story, and I'm like paralleling. Okay, continue. So you studied electrical engineering?
Yeah, because we didn't have money to pay for studies. I could get a bursary to study engineering. So I ended up studying. And then I started my own company.
Where did you study?
At UJ.
Okay, all right.
Electronic and electrical engineering.
Okay.
And then I started my own company to make more time for the music.
Right.
You know? So, and I found people will come to me and say, I can't do this.
Was your vision the same? You get into engineering, create a few patents, live off the patents, and then focus on your hobbies. Right.
I really wanted to do the music.
Yeah.
But I thought, you know,
you got to make a living.
Yeah.
That's what you're told, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I found that people come to me, people who worked for me, and they would say, I can't do this. And I'm going, so? But musicians, when I employed musicians, they never came to me and said, I can't do this. They would go. So I ended up preferring to employ musicians because they're just so competent.
In your engineering firm?
In my engineering, even if they knew no engineering.
So you've got a band working on electronics, right?
Yeah.
That is so true. I find that's what I do with my son. I always said exactly what you're saying. I want him to understand the process and cycle of achievement, which is...
That's exactly.
And once you have that, then...
It's so valuable for children. It's incredibly valuable. It sets them up for life. So that's why I really think children should learn music at an early age already.
Right. Do you have children of your own?
Yes.
And are they musicians?
No, I started very early. That's hence the engineering, because I had to look after them. And I had basically...
Is that why your music career kind of has just taken off now, because you were so focused on...
I spent a lot of time with my kids, and they took my priorities. So until my son left school, I didn't do music as a full-time profession, because I tried to swap over from engineering to music, and then 6 months later, a year later, because it's expensive to have kids.
Yeah.
You know, my money would run out, and I'll go back to engineering. And then finally, when they left school, then, you know, I tried again. And this time the expenses were a little bit lower, even though we're still at university.
Yeah.
And And because I had tried so many times before, I knew more how to do it.
Yeah.
And I followed my own road, because before that I played mostly classical music, and I
Right.
started writing my own music, and things started working. That was about 10 years ago.
And then you win this Grammy. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess you're a testament to the whole idea of never giving up, and there's no right time or wrong time.
There is, because people told me that I was being crazy. You
Yeah.
know, and because I was already older, I had lost my early sex appeal.
The actuaries were telling you it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah, they were saying, no, I mean, you're not young and sexy anymore,
Yeah.
and you play the flute.
Yeah, you're certainly not going to be able to handle the traveling.
You don't sing,
Yeah.
you know. They just told me you're really crazy. But I was very determined, and I had a passion for it. You know.
And obviously you're passionate about South African music in particular.
Yeah.
But looking at some of your colleagues from around the world who while you were engineering, you saw rise to the top and do really amazing things in that space. Have you now gotten a chance to kind of collaborate and work with or tour with some of the people you looked up to?
Yes, I've done a lot of collaboration over the last few years, and I have more collaboration requests than I can handle, which is lovely, because, you know, with the overseas, we've been really branching out. We really focused, try and export the music. We really focused on that aspect. It was really hard to do, but now I have a lot of musicians from overseas. The Grammy Award-winning album is a collaboration with an Indian producer, Ricky Kaj, who's based in Bangalore.
Wow.
You know, so and I've done many collaborations with American musicians.
Yeah.
And so it's very exciting. Very
Wow.
exciting, yeah.
All right, well, Wouter, we're going to hang out with you some more. Thank you so much for coming to join us. You've got an amazing story. Right now, though, we're going to stop teasing you and let you hear some of the music. So here's Wouter performing some great music off his current album, right?
It's from an old album.
From the old album, okay.
First album.
All
yes.
right, take a look.
Even though I don't like winter, one of my favorite pieces in the world is called Winter, and this is my own version of Vivaldi's Winter from his Four Seasons.
All right, there you go. We're going to take a short break. The weekend edition returns after this.
Coming up, if you're looking for a destination for a fun-filled getaway, Josie Eveleigh explores what the sunny city of Durban has to offer.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying this Sunday morning with us right here on the weekend edition. So photography has become a thing, right? It's either you do it with your phone or you have a professional photographer to do it for you. Well, my next guest gives life to the world of Instagram pictures and capturing memories on stills. Tom is a photographer. What is it, a photographic artist? Is that what it's called?
I call myself a documentary and portrait photographic artist, yeah.
What does that mean?
So it means I tell stories through a series of photographs, but use documentary and portrait techniques and aspire to as high an artistic sort of aesthetic as I can do.
Wow. But if you're documenting people, you need to have good people skills.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
What is your fascination with people?
Well, I suppose that with everybody there's a story, and in South Africa there's thousands of stories to be told, thousands of interesting stories. And so through people we can discover more about the country, the politics, the culture, everything.
Wow. Yeah. And I guess through your pictures, you're literally the glue between the people to try and create conversation through your pictures.
Well, that's the idea. I suppose what I try to do is to create images that engage people in stories that they may find interesting, and so can use it as a way to pull somebody into a subject matter that maybe they wouldn't usually think about.
Your fascination with the Basotho people, what is it?
Well, I was traveling through Lesotho for another project called The Price of Gold, which was about finding the miners who are taking the South African gold mines to court over silicosis, a lung disease.
Yes.
And as I was traveling through Lesotho for the first time, I just noticed the beauty of the country, the beauty of the people, the beauty of the horses and the clothing, and I put it at the back of my mind and thought, I need to come back here and do something.
I've always wanted to know, what was the idea of them looking like Mexicans with wearing these blankets? What is the story behind it?
Well, the blankets were actually brought in during the British colonial era. And that they have now been an independent country for 50 years.
Yes.
But the blankets are very much a sort of identity of Basotho people now. They're very proud of them, and obviously it gets very cold up in the mountains. And all of the blankets have different symbols on them, which mean different things. There's crowns and there's mealies and things like that. So they all tell different stories.
I mean, I see your pictures flipping through the screen right now. The Khoisan as well. What is the story behind that?
Well, so really that was one of the first projects that I embarked upon. And that was a story about land, really, land and representation. Because I'd read a lot about Khoisan and different communities in the Northern Cape. But I'd only ever really seen these kind of, what would we say, like stylized traditional pictures and skins. And I went there with a group of researchers and realized that in the community I was in, that's not how people lived at all. And there was major problems with land claims and with ownership and with being able to go and hunt in different parts of the parks and things. And I really wanted to make a project that told a story about the true kind of identity of people and the representation of how they really live, rather than what we stereotypically expect to see.
Wow, Tom, I mean, you speak of a project that you've started. Is it a table book type of title project, or is it a exhibition where you'll hang up your pictures? What is the project about?
The Andresville one.
Yes.
Yeah, that has been an exhibition a couple of years ago, but hasn't become a book yet. But I'm still working there. I go back there and carry on with the project, and hopefully it'll become something else. The Simon Kong, the Basotho one, is actually becoming a book this year. We're going to make it into a book with a New York publisher coming out in the winter.
Well, I mean, from the beginning of time, pictures have always been the thing that sets the tone for a certain era. What is the tone of this era now?
The tone of this era?
Yes, according to what you've seen in your travels.
Sure. Well, that's a hard one. I suppose the tone within South Africa, the tone is about stories of hardship, I suppose, but in a modern context, and and the way that different communities are living, the way that different communities are treated. And I think that we learn so much, or we think we learn so much from social media and things, and are told so many stories. But actually, the reality of life can be quite different.
Yes.
And so for me, now that, as you said at the beginning, that so many people have a cell phone and everybody can be a photographer.
Yes.
Really, it's a challenge to us as photographers to go out and find real stories, compelling stories, and try and bring something that's very contemporary and now, issues that are happening now, and tell them through imagery.
Wow. But I'd like to know, to have such a career, is it expensive to maintain?
Well, I mean, I think the outlays can be expensive to start off with.
Yeah.
You've got to get some decent gear, and so you do have to put a bit of money into it. And then, obviously, the work that I do is mostly self-funded, so I have to try and save some money to go traveling and find the stories that I want to tell. But then there's different avenues which you can try and bring back. Pay off the projects through.
What is your ultimate goal by doing this?
Through my photography as a whole? The ultimate goal is to tell as compelling stories as I can, to open up new stories to people who haven't heard about them. I myself feel like I learnt about the world through photographs. My dad had a big book called The Chronicles of the 20th Century, and it had these photographs of key events around the world, the assassination of JFK and things like that. And I remember that's how I learnt about the world. And I feel like compelling imagery, single images, can just bring somebody into a story. And so for me, it's about finding those interesting stories which people should know about and finding a way to tell them in a universal manner.
Fantastic. And where do we find you on social media?
So on Instagram, I'm at Tom with an H, T-H-O-M.
Yes.
.Pierce, which is P-I-E-R-C-E.
Yes.
And then at Facebook, I'm on at Tom Pierce Photography. And then my website is tompierce.com. So
wow. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know you'll be hanging out because we're going to the kitchen with Jenny Morris shortly.
Fantastic. Thanks.
So to you at home, it is important for you to know your world. But do you know your country just as well? Well, Josie, which is the girl, part of the show that does all the interesting things, headed down to Durban, where we all know that the Indian population is the most outside of India. She tries out a bunny chow, and this time she's on a bike. Let's check out what she gets up to.
The city of Durban is a crown jewel on South Africa's tourism landscape. Not just great for international visitors, Durban offers plenty for locals to enjoy and experience. Welcome to another weekend adventure with Where Josie Goes. Together with you, I'm going to be exploring South Africa and discovering all of our hidden gems. And this weekend, I'm really excited because it brings me back to Durban, which is my hometown. And when you're in Durban, there's one place to come for a good curry. So Shamla, you are obviously GM here at this beautiful Britannia Hotel, and there's a lot of history that's behind this incredible property.
It's been built in 1879. It's been a hotel for all those years. That is for 136 years. The owner, Linky Mudley, has been owning the business for the past 36 years as a hotel, and he's added food part of it, which has actually won us a lot of great accolades.
Chatting about being famous, I mean, having the #1 ranking in terms of curries in Durban is a big deal. What do you think adds to your success?
Extremely huge. It's exciting for us. There's a few things that have actually created that kind of accolade. We have a stringent quality control on our products that we receive in our establishment. The rigorous training programs that Rebecca, the food manager, is involved in. The chef's dedication in making sure that our quality of our product is always maintained. And, well, of course, our patrons that visit our place and enjoy and understand the quality that we serve.
You're also very well known for your bunny chows. What do you think makes them so tasty?
It's our secret herbs and spices.
So there's no way I'm getting the secret recipe, basically?
Definitely not, but you can have a taste of the bunny.
Okay, that'll have to be the best second prize. Oh, it looks incredible. So being a Durban girl born and bred, when I'm back, I always have to have my bunny chow, and this is the place to do it when you're next in Durban. I think I've earned my lunch. Looks delicious. So good. There's no denying that Durban is very vibey, and on a day like today, you can definitely see why. After that bunny chow, I've got to work it off with some exercise, and there's a guy inside Superior who's going to help me with that. We're going to be exploring Durban City with Bike and Saddle. A bike tour of the city offers the opportunity to take in the history and heritage of Durban and is a healthy way of visiting some of the popular spots along the beachfront. So Superior, you've got me covered for some adventuring through the city, and I've never done it by bike before. Where are we going?
Yes, thank you so much. We're going to Mapida Stadium and we're going to be cycling through there. So safety first, you need to wear your helmet while we...
I'm on it, you lead the way. Built as a legacy project from the 2010 World Cup, Durban's beachfront promenade has become a huge attraction for locals and tourists. It's an easy way to get to all the Golden Mile beaches, has great restaurants dotted along the route, and is a safe, relaxing environment for a stroll, jog, or cycle to major attractions like Moses Mbida Stadium. Superior, what I love about Durban is that we can do this whole cycle right along the beach. And before this, we were obviously at the stadium, which was created back in 2010. And I love the reference you made about it looking like a big Jaws. What's the story behind that?
Yes, if you're looking at it from the side, that's when you'll see those, the jaws of the shark. And that's how they normally build it, for you to see it on the side as the...
Bike and Saddle, you guys obviously represent ecotourism, and I love how you're trying to get people active and outdoors. How did this all sort of come to be?
Seeing that Durban is the warmest place to be, we're taking people for eco tours because we want to take them out there and see a lot of fun. So what we do is to take them to nature reserves where they can actually learn something about the environment. We teach them about birds, we teach them about different trees. So that's where we're actually going eco.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I think without this head-on wind, the ride home is going to be even faster, but I'm going to race you regardless.
Definitely, I'm ready.
Woo!
Let's go.
Durban is an exciting melting pot of flavors, cultures, and adventures, and it's no wonder that so many city dwellers make their way here all year round for fun in the sun. From a very windy Durban, I've found a friend who's going to help me with a cheat guide to home. It's a lot easier than a cycle. Durban has been one for the books. From bunny chows to beach, you can follow the adventure for the next time on #WhereJosieGoes and find us, as always, on social media at The Weekend Edition. Until next time, Basambe! Woo!
There are only two things in the world that you have to eat with your hands, and it's not easy to not get dirty. It's a bunny chow and a burger, Josie. Guys, hang around. It is #The Weekend Edition. See you after the break.
Still ahead on the Weekend Edition, celebrity chef Jenny Morris is putting the sexy back into salad. The delectable seared salmon salad with pomegranate and avocado.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
Welcome back to the Weekend Edition. We're on our second meal of the what is it? Aphrodisiac. It scares me just to think about it. It gets me hot and flustered. Sorry. So what are we making now, Jenny?
Well, you know what? Salmon full of wonderful omegas, very good for your nerve endings.
Right.
It's all about the nerves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hold on.
Yes.
Salmon.
Yeah.
I'm scared of salmon. I love salmon, but I'm now scared of salmon because I've heard that there's these new giant salmons that they're farming that are that have all kinds of weird
Mercury and things in it.
So it's scary.
What's the story with that? Do you know?
Well, if you can get wild salmon, you're very, very
That's right.
lucky.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
But you know, that's a fish that is so in demand.
Right.
At the moment that
it's hard to get wild.
It's hard to get. Well, I can get wild next to you, young man.
So what kind of show is this?
It's about aphrodisiac food.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. He's embarrassed.
He doesn't need food. He just puts his bank balance on the table, and that's all the aphrodisiac he needs. Right?
But there really is. I mean, if you look at it worldwide, I mean, it still has all the omegas and the things in it. And I think the population, has caused this explosion and this demand for things to get farmed, so it happens quicker.
Yeah.
You know? So what we're going to do is you're going to cook this because you are pescatarian. This is your last day.
This is my first day of being vegetarian, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
Are you going to go with it?
Sure.
Okay.
Well done, Tom.
So we're going to cook it on the presentation side.
Okay.
So you'll put it skin side down. There's a lot of oil in here.
Is that how you always do it?
Yeah.
You said skin side down, or?
Well, it depends. You know, if you want crispy skin.
Yeah.
And I can see I have no takers here.
I do. I love crispy skin.
Me too.
Then we'll keep the skin for you.
Please, for all of us.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Okay.
All right.
a little bit of colour on this and we'll cook it longer on the skin. Okay.
And notice you put the oil on the fish and not in the pan.
Yes, because this is you're going to see a lot coming out of here.
Cool.
All right, so you're going to go with that. And in the meantime...
He looks very afraid, Jenny.
No,
I think you might have to hold him or hug him.
Can I have your permission to touch the fish?
Touch the fish.
Are you going to feel guilty?
Yes.
Then don't do it.
Let's do
Don't come back here.
Oui.
Okay, he doesn't listen, but that's fine. We'll just cook it on
The
the
other
skin
way
side.
You said, I thought you said presentation.
You
side
would
up.
be
That's the
fired
presentation
in Jenny's
side down.
kitchen.
It's all good.
So we've
See
gone
what
wrong
you've
already.
done. What have you done to
Made
this
him
man?
nervous.
All right, don't worry about it.
It's the money, Jenny, don't worry.
It's your money is sleepless.
Come on, guys.
Don't tell her. Don't tell her. Right, the next thing, if you look at the plate, melons, also once again, so amazing for the libido because once again, it feeds the nerves, it gets the blood racing, it actually helps the blood to accelerate all the way through your body. So it's lovely honeymoon food. This is Connie's absolute favorite. You can feed her one if you like. He doesn't even know what side to put it in. Look at him. It's the other way around.
She's clearly not a vegetarian.
Cheater.
What do you eat, crackers at home?
The next one
No.
is pomegranate. Also, once
You can
again,
feed me
very,
the
very
arrow.
lovely aphrodisiac. And if you look at the shape of this, it's the testicle fruit. So this helps with production of, what is the hormone that men have?
Testosterone.
Testosterone. And girls have?
Estrogen.
Estrogen.
Oh, okay.
Hello. So
All
this
right,
is
bud,
wonderful. It's lovely for manufacture of that. And then fennel, once again, very, very, very underestimated. And not many people know about it, but a lovely aphrodisiac. And then, of course, chili. Because chili gets the body pounding. It's that heat. It's that heat.
Is this for real now? Because
Yes, of course it is.
It's like it's for real.
every food item now has got a sexual thing about it.
It is, because this is the month of love. So this is the most wonderful way to seduce. This salad is going to do the trick, trust me.
Okay.
I'm going to get you shaking. Once again, melon.
Is that melon juice?
That is
What is that,
watermelon,
watermelon
juice.
juice?
Yeah,
Yes.
so good.
Watermelon.
Lime, I want you to squeeze that lime in there, okay?
Jen,
Straight in.
should we not wash hands now?
Obsessive compulsive, yes, your hands are clean, don't worry. Lime kills everything. A bit of salt and pepper. Carry on, darling. Some olive oil. I'm just going to do, you keep squeezing.
He's still on the first lemon.
Yeah.
You know how I've already burned the fish.
No, you haven't, darling.
Do I have to do anything to it now?
In a moment. Just
Okay.
have a look. If you actually look
Okay,
into the
sure.
pan, you can actually see. Food talks to you. This is not ready to be moved.
Okay.
But can you see how it's the oil coming out of its skin?
I can, yeah.
It's really, really good.
Okay, cool.
And how do you like your salmon? Do you like it medium rare, medium?
Medium.
Juicy.
Medium.
Juicy.
Medium's good, yeah. Because
Medium.
then, oh yes, you see, you like sashimi.
Yeah.
And you don't like it at all.
The what? The fish?
Yes.
Not for me.
Give it a chance, it's going to talk to you. I might help you along.
Smell like fish and meat.
Lemon
You
is
know,
good for fishy fish.
It's funny, I think people smell bacon and I think it's really cool, and I used to, and now when I smell it, it's actually disgusting for me.
Yeah.
It's weird, it just changes.
Yeah.
I've got two things, garlic, sorry darling,
No, go
and a
on.
bit of Dijon mustard. If you're not feeling in the mood, have the garlic, it'll be a repellent.
Yes.
What made you become a vegetarian?
Yeah, Josie, it's interesting. 6 years ago, I was giving my vegetarian and vegan friends a hard time about being veg. And then I was going to Thailand and I said to them, I'll try it for a month because I don't enjoy the meat there. And it's 6 years and I've never eaten meat.
Oh, okay. So,
Do you miss it sometimes?
Do I miss it? No, not at all. Now it's an ethical issue for me as well. So not just for myself, but also ethically. I don't think it's right.
let's see if he's got on leather shoes.
And I just ate eat, so I'm not putting myself out there as a vegan.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But I don't know. I think it's going to change.
All right.
Yeah. Well done. Taking it out here.
Just giving you a hard time.
That's that crispy skin for Joe.
This is how I cook at home. Someone always comes and takes over.
Okay, now what we're going to do is just arrange these beautiful elements on the plate. Let me see if you've really given it a good squeeze.
Have I?
No, darling, you don't squeeze nearly
He's got
hard
no
enough.
finger strength.
It's all good. Okay, now, you're an artistic young man. I would like you to arrange onto this platter. You can paint by numbers, I don't mind. The asparagus, all of those things, and I'll do this.
Super.
Okay. So that crispy. Yeah, beautiful. That's the most coveted part of the salmon is the skin in a Japanese restaurant.
He basically said you do it.
Yes.
Outsourcing in the kitchen.
Can I help you?
No, let's go.
But there needs to be a plan. What's the plan?
Melons.
No. Patterns?
Do you want a pattern?
Of course we need a pattern.
I'm going to put all over the place.
That presentation is
You have a business plan for this?
You have a method.
And then what do we do next?
Asparagus.
Your favorite food.
Oh. Okay.
Shall we?
Conventional this.
Oh, he's a counter. You can see 1, 2, 3,
Again, everything has to be structured.
And that all over.
Save a few for the salmon on top. Yes, now get a bit messy. Relax.
I know, right? It looks too perfect.
I think it looks beautiful, okay?
Organized.
One-dimensional.
Very.
Or whatever, guys.
Now we're talking.
Are you happy?
Now I'm happy.
Like that.
Save a few for the top.
It almost looks edible now. Earlier it looked too picture
You were
perfect.
petrified
Like,
to,
don't eat me, don't
to
eat
touch
me.
it. Okay, now the salmon is coming next. Can I feed you that? Because it looks like that's all you're going to get today. And my hands
Says a
have
mouth,
been
Joe.
washed.
It's hard.
Already? Walk right into that. Okay. Now, we're going to just take our salmon and we're going to just break it up nice and roughly, okay? Got all these beautiful elements going on here. Let's have a look. Here's a side plate. What I might do is invite you to take a little bit out, my love, before we
Cool.
get the fish. Thank you, Cook. Do you want to do it? It's your dish.
Sure.
Yes, if you break it, you did it.
Okay.
I'm teasing. Grab yourself a little side plate. And lettuce. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm going to just
Good work, Tom.
do a little bit of that and give you, let me just give you, you obviously love Avo.
Love
Would you
Avo.
eat everything else that I've got on here?
Love everything.
And there we go.
Oh, it's
Looks
awesome.
lovely.
Yes. Oh, look at that. It's just so nice and fresh and it'll just leave kani a little
Amazing.
bit of asparagus. There we go, my darling. And I've got more leaves for you. Would you like a few more leaves? Right, don't touch that.
Thank you so much.
This is for the rest of you. I'm going to just take, now if you really wanted to, oh, look at that. Doesn't it look beautiful? If you really wanted to really pump this up, some flax seeds, oh wow. Some sunflower seed, pumpkin seed will really add that extra oomph.
Right,
Chip once again, feeds the libido. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Just very, very
Amazing.
simple. Just break it up into pretty chunks. Do you think I can trust you to sprinkle a few more of those things on?
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. While he does that, ever so, you don't have to be organized. He's busy counting them. While he does that, we're gonna take a short break. This recipe's on our Facebook page. You can get it and try it out at home. We'll be right back.
That looks incredible.
After the break, Wouter Kellerman transports us to another place in time with a stunning rendition of a classic Irish march tune.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're still sitting alongside Grammy Award-winning flautist Wouter Kellerman. Thank you for coming and joining us once again. Your style of music, classical background, but how would you describe it? And I know that you do some very interesting things with your music.
Yes, I mean, I started being a classical musician, but I always listened very widely. So my music is probably described best by world music. And it's got a strong South African influence, but it also has some Irish, flamenco, tango influences. And basically, you know, the world's such a small place, everybody listens quite widely these days. And when you write music, the music that you've been listening seems to creep in. You know, all the things that you've been listening.
Right.
And when you look at the song, there's like influences from all over the world in one song.
Right.
So it's actually becoming harder and harder to define what your music is.
Is it the more you travel and the more you get exposed to different things, does it become harder to create? Do you become overwhelmed with ideas and?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's such a strange thing. Some days it's really easy to create, and other days it's really hard. You know, some days you just, whatever you do just sounds really bad.
Right.
And other days you just think of, in 1 second, you just think of a tune and it's beautiful.
In your genre, how does it work when you go to record? I mean, when you're writing a song, and it's an instrumental song, do you have to, is the process writing chords and pieces for every instrument that you imagine? Or is it kind of like just a basic thing, and then afterwards you go, it'd be nice if we added a this and a that?
It's much easier than people think.
Okay.
I just jam with my guitarist. We just play anything that comes in our heads, and most of what we do sounds really bad. And then every now and then,
something great comes out.
Oh, that sounds quite nice. And I just take my phone, record that little idea. We carry on, it sounds really bad. And then we come onto another idea. It sounds quite nice. And then we put it together, try it, play around with it. Then we have a flute and guitar piece. Then we sort of finish the whole piece, you know, think about the structure and work it out. And after that, we arrange it, and then we add the other instruments and see what would happen if we put a bass line in here.
And then the most difficult part is obviously giving it a name. How do you name it after you've put it together?
It often changes names a few times during the process. And just before you release the CD, you decide on the final.
You know, I always thought when I listened to jazz and stuff, like there was like this deep aspect of, you know, you read the name and it's called Raindrops, and you start thinking about raindrops and you're thinking, wow, they must have like really got in tune with nature. But
sometimes it does work like that. Like the one piece I wrote for Nelson Mandela, and I was thinking about his life. And it's sort of a programmed work. I had images in my head that I wrote to. But mostly, I don't have that. Mostly, I just write anything. For example, I had this one piece. It was just a very African-sounding piece, only 2 chords. And one of my friends said, it sounds like a little child says, I told you so, I told you so. So I decided to call it Told You So.
Wow.
You know, and that's just, it happened afterwards.
It's a creative process, yeah. Very cool. And then I would have never imagined, okay, so Winds of Samsara is the one that won the Grammy.
That's right.
Your last album, Love Language, many people are not aware, is nominated.
It was nominated last year.
Oh, it was nominated, okay. You didn't win?
No, we didn't win.
Okay.
It was nominated in the Best Contemporary Instrumental Album category, which is a really tough category because all instrumentalists across the world are eligible. So all pianists, all guitarists, all flautists, all saxophone, all violinists are all in one category. So to be nominated was a really amazing privilege.
Of course it is. And the category was called Best Instrumental Album, right?
Best Contemporary Instrumental Album.
So out of the hundreds, if not thousands of projects, you basically were in the top 5. Yeah. And does that do wonders for your sales globally when you get nominated? You always hear that Grammys are kind of like a career changer.
The win, the nomination, not so much. But when we won in 2015, we came back home, and for a few weeks we outsold Taylor Swift over here. Wow. So they call it the Grammy bump.
Yes, that's right.
So that does happen, and it was a game changer for my career because suddenly people were phoning me and they were offering me more money to perform. You know, I was more valuable.
Yeah, right.
So,
all of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Yeah. Would you ever do like film scores and things like that? Is that something that...
Yes, I think the flute is an absolutely perfect instrument because it's so emotive.
Yeah.
And I have played on film scores. In fact, the first recording I did when I just started doing this was on an album called The Eye of the Leopard, and that won 2 Emmys. And and it was a very emotive theme of the leopard.
Right.
And I think the flute's very much suited.
Yeah. Do you still need to, I mean, after years and years of playing it, do you still need to practice, or is it more of like a, what's your routine like?
No, I need to practice, and I practice scales every day, and I still feel like I'm not even close to getting there. So every day for more than 40 years, I've played, and I still feel like I'm only starting.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a meditative exercise.
Yeah.
So even if I never played for anybody, I would just do it for myself, because you get in such a peaceful mode, and you just play and you listen to the sounds and you just enjoy it.
Yeah, I last played, when was it, 20 years ago?
You should actually. When I was really busy with my engineering company, I would put my breakfast, the milk on the stove, and I'd pick my flute up, and when the milk's hot, I'd have to put it down. And I still kept on. In the busiest times, I would do that 1 minute a day.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference.
All right, so what's in store for you in the future? 55 years old, you've got a bright future ahead of you. You've basically debunked the actuaries and their statistics.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
Well, we're busy with a very exciting project. It's a collaboration with the Soweto Gospel Choir and Symphony Orchestra. So it's a very ambitious and big project. It's called Symphonic Soweto, a tribute to Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
And we're actually starting to record the choir next week. Most of the arrangements have been done. We'll release it in July. And we hope to be running with it next year when it's Madiba's centenary of his birth.
What's been the biggest recording that you've been a part of with the most number of elements and pieces? I'm just trying to imagine the mixing board when you guys are recording. Must be...
It was the Grammy-winning album, Winds of Samsara, was pretty huge. There was more than 100 musicians on that album.
musicians.
Yeah, so it was a pretty big project to put together. It took us many years.
That sounds like an expensive project.
It was, but it wasn't actually that expensive because my collaborator in India, he's got a beautiful studio, double set of studios. So we used his studio for free.
Wow.
So it wasn't that expensive as you would think.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
All right, well, on that note, we're going to let Wouter perform for you once again. So here he is, Wouter Kellerman, performing.
I wrote this next song for Nelson Mandela, trying to paint his life with the colors of the flute. It starts off with him growing up in his rural Transkei, where he was very close to nature and spent some time herding cattle. When I was writing this song, I was thinking about him sitting by his cattle, listening to the beautiful sounds of nature, which even then must have been tinged with a touch of sadness, showing what was to come in his life. In the next section, he moves to the city, and the peacefulness of nature makes space for the hustle and bustle of city life and a train of events that would take control of his life. In the last section, he retires, finally has time to be peaceful again and spend time with his family. The piece ends on an unfinished note, showing that even though his life is over, his memory and influence will carry on and sustain us far into the future.
There you have it. Another wonderful performance by Mr. Wouter Kellerman. We're going to take a short break, but the weekend edition continues shortly after this.
Coming up, find a little romance, rest and relaxation in the KwaZulu-Natal Midlands as we delve into this special region with Where Josie Goes.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
Welcome back to the weekend edition. I'm sitting across from entrepreneur and CEO of the Bean Counter, Marnus Broodryk. Now, we spoke about education before. Take us through your education. You were working and studying at the same time. What exactly did you study? It was accounting, right?
Yes.
And where did you study?
It started with humble beginnings, and my parents couldn't afford to send me to university. And then I had an opportunity to go and do articles at a small auditing firm. So I worked at the auditing firm.
Fresh out of high school?
Fresh out of high school.
They still do that?
They actually do, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I've always known that that's historically how you get into accounting, but okay, so you went straight to work as an article clerk?
Yes, studied through NISA, so we'd finish work, then go and study in the evening.
Yeah.
Did that for 3 years, did my degree, honours the next year, and after 4 years I was done with my articles, degree and honours.
And did you pursue chartered accountancy?
I didn't. In my final year of auditing, I said I don't want to do this in my life again.
Yeah.
So when I was 22, I said I'm done. I want to add value to the SME space in South Africa. I'm going to start my own company, and I won't get that done, or I won't do that being a CA. I would do that getting out there. So
right.
That's what happened.
The cool thing about doing what you did is you obviously were part of, they make you, you work in teams, but you get to see a wide variety of different businesses. Is that where you kind of got the inspiration to kind of want to get into business?
Yeah, I think it was part of it, but traditionally the accounting firm didn't add a lot of value to the business owner. It's really just compliance work and making sure that you get your tax return in. So I really had the vision to help small businesses and entrepreneurs, and that was the vision for starting the firm.
Right, okay. Obviously, we're in a tech-enabled world now, And technology seems to be where all the opportunities, or most of the opportunities, still lie. I mean, you still have traditional businesses that can still do well and survive. But all the new opportunities seem to be in tech. Has that been a motivating and driving force in your experience?
I don't think it's always in tech. I think tech obviously makes it a lot easier. But I think people, they always ask me what idea or business can I get into. I think you can get into any business. We don't get great service from service providers out there. So if you can better their service, you can be in business. And sometimes tech makes it possible, but other times just hard work or common sense makes it possible.
Right, right. And what do you think about South African entrepreneurs? I mean, who are some of your favorite? Because, you know, when I would imagine as an entrepreneur, you look up to certain individuals. Who are some of the entrepreneurs that you look up to or that you have kind of drawn inspiration from?
There's definitely a couple. I think our biggest export, Elon Musk, from Tesla now. Definitely Elon on the outside. On the inside, there's a couple. One close to my heart is Mark Lamberti. He was the founder of the Massmart Group and Builders Warehouse and all of them.
Right.
He was also part of Transaction Capital when they listed as CEO, and then I got bought out by Transaction Capital.
Is he still part of the organization?
He's actually CEO of Imperial now.
Yeah.
So he's not part of Transaction Capital, but it's a nice link to have.
All right. And then have you had a chance to communicate with him and talk with him? And
actually not, but it's definitely on the bucket list for 2017.
Oh, there you go, man. Wow. All right. So, okay. Started his first business at the age of 14. What business was that?
I actually did websites, website design, and it was back in '99 or something, and the internet wasn't big, and definitely people in the freezer didn't know too much about it. So that's how I got into the tech space.
And do you remember some of the clients that you had? Who did you design websites for?
I don't think any of them are still around, but there were art websites trying to sell art to the outside world, and a couple of small businesses.
Yeah. And then what is the business that they say made you a self-made millionaire by age 22?
So my accounting and the bean counter was my first real business.
But you're 31 now, right?
I'm 31, yeah. So that 22 is actually 24.
Ah,
just to check
okay, I got you. All right, yeah. All right, so the mythology of Broodryk. And then what besides education, what advice would you give to up-and-coming entrepreneurs? I mean, there's obviously people out there who are maybe not happy with their jobs and they keep telling themselves, this is the year I'm going to start my own business. What are some of the key, finer details that you usually wouldn't get told that you would tell them?
Yeah. I think first off, there's never going to be a perfect moment. We're all waiting for that really perfect moment. It's never going to happen, and we need to create it ourselves.
Yeah.
So I would say just go out there and do it. And I think, as I said earlier, one of the fundamental errors that we make as aspiring entrepreneurs, we think that we've got this idea and that's all what it's about, and we need to find millions in funding to make that idea happen. But that's not how it works in 2016, 2017 now. You got to go out there, you need to start lean and just start the business and take it from there. That's definitely, I think, the biggest obstacle is people are waiting for that perfect moment in perfect funding, and it's not going to happen. You got to get out there.
It's a lot better to prove the model and have the customer flow already there, even if it's just a trickle, to just show that the business works.
Yeah, for sure. If you can find one customer, you can find 10. If you can find 10, you're probably going to get an investor, but you're not going to get an investor of zero customers.
Yeah. What is the most difficult challenge on that road? I mean, the big question that everybody asks is, how do you take care of yourself? How do you, and because you never know when that event horizon is going to come where you start actually being able to pay yourself a salary.
I think we always worry so much about the future and we don't focus on where we are now. So I think you need to have a plan, but you got to work hard today to make sure that you're gonna make it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you want to get out in the world of entrepreneurship, there's not a lot of security, and you need to prepare for that. And whether that's a pension fund or a little bit of saving, or whether you just sleep on a couch for 3 years, you got to do what you got to do.
You're always told to put together a business plan. Is a business plan really helpful? Because I've heard that more often than not, it's hocus pocus. It never applies when you start a business. But everybody's like, yeah, no, you need to have the, what's your marketing plan and what's your finances are going to look like. And it never is a business plan really important.
I speak to hundreds, thousands of entrepreneurs, and very seldom did the business start with a business plan.
Exactly.
Very seldom. Even our biggest companies, our Facebooks and our Googles, Mark Zuckerberg, he started it out of the dorm room.
So
It
where
just
does this
grew
business
and grew and
plan?
grew. I think it's important to have a plan, but just that's what it is, just a plan. And to know where you're going, but most likely it would happen organically.
Right, I would imagine with Bean Counter, for instance, you had an idea of how it might work, and then you kind of sort of put the hypothesis out there, you test it out, and you go, oh, okay, I have to tweak it and change it here. So it's ever evolving until you find a model that is spot on and it works, correct?
Yeah, definitely. And I think sometimes we're too theoretical about that, and we want to have this plan and make it work. But it's exactly like you say, you need to go and try it out and test it out, and then you see what works, you change it slightly, and you move forward.
Yeah. All right. Well, Marnus, thank you for coming to shed some light. Hopefully we can be millionaires like you soon, too.
Billionaires.
Yeah, billionaires. There you go. Trillionaires. Stop thinking small. I've got a colleague who gets to do everything. She's so lucky. This week on Where Josie Goes, Josie's exploring the province of KZN. Her adventures kick off with a lesson in artisanal coffee making, followed by a visit to a cheese farm. And then to top it all off, she ends the day with a luxury massage, something I need.
Welcome to another weekend adventure with Where Josie Goes. Together with you, I'm going to be exploring South Africa and finding out all about our hidden gems. Now this weekend, I'm pretty excited because we're in the beautiful Midlands, and stop number 1 has me sorted for my coffee early morning fix. It's a place that knows just how to do it as well. Follow me. Right on the famous Midlands Meander route, you'll find the roasting headquarters of Turbador Coffee. They supply several restaurants and leading hotels around the country, but visiting their home base is an experience that awakens all the senses. And it's not just from the caffeine fix. Well, it smells absolutely amazing in here, and I've never been inside a roastery before, so I think chat me through the process from the beginning as to how the magic happens.
Firstly, the smell that you're smelling is our flavoured coffees. Now, we purposely put it right by the door, so when customers walk past, that's the first thing they smell when they get to us. So we import our beans from various countries, Equatorial African and South American countries. I'm not going to go over all our beans because it would take quite a while. So pretty much I've poured out a few beans for us to go over, namely Ethiopia, Brazil, and our specialty, India.
Amazing, they're green in colour and they actually don't smell at all. Chatting about all these different regions and where they are, what is the perfect sort of environment or climate for coffee to grow in?
Coffee needs certain requirements, and pretty much you get this thing called a coffee belt, which is just above and just below the equator. Now those areas have the best quality coffee that you can get, and it's got to do with the altitude as well as the weather conditions need to be absolutely perfect.
Chatting about that, we've got the beans, and I understand this process and it's been really interesting, but I'm also quite keen to check out the roastery side, which is where you said all the flavour profiles come from. So let's go and see the magic.
Cool, well I have weighed out a little bit of beans there so we can go through the roasting process together.
In the age of technology, roasting coffee beans is still a hands-on process, and roasters use a time-honored method of using taste, sight, and a bit of gut instinct to get the beans just right. So chat me through this bad boy.
Perfect, so this is our coffee roaster. Pretty much what we're going to do is be lifting our green beans into the top hopper. It isn't hollow on the inside, although it looks like it's hollow. There's a whole bunch of propellers and blades and things going absolutely every direction. And the reason for that is with the speed that it's rotating, it's pushing all the beans to the outer layer of the drum. Pretty much what that's going to do is just agitate the beans, so we get a very consistent roast. And when the roast is right, I'm going to pull it out into this device here, which is an air quelling station. Now that's going to just suck air down, and it's just going to cool it almost instantaneously so that it doesn't carry on roasting once I pull it out.
The best way to enjoy this coffee is to have a cup of freshly brewed by the baristas in the quaint farm restaurant, which sits alongside the roastery and serves breakfast and lunch. Looks delicious, thanks so much. Top date day to start off the weekend is with the barista of the region. They've also won Cappuccino of the Year. And next time you're in Midlands, best you add Turbador to your list. KwaZulu-Natal Midlands is famous for its dairy farms and outstanding dairy produce. Swissland Cheese stands apart as a producer of artisanal goat's cheese, and it was founded by a woman, Fran Isaac, back in 1992. Visitors can watch the goats being milked every afternoon and even take a peek at the cheese-making process. Before tucking into a picnic spread on the lush grass, don't forget to give the goats a treat. Not a bad spot for afternoon lunch, and if you ask me, with views like this, it's definitely worth driving a little extra further next time you're in the Midlands to get your cheese fix. Swissland Cheese is all about encompassing everything that the Midlands stands for in terms of great local produce, family-run farms, and taking the time to kick back and enjoy a great picnic while you hero the local produce. To fully unwind, a visit to the spa is in order, and this spa in particular was once home to Winks Green, a renowned racing horse healer. Now, the space boasts a tranquility lounge, champagne, coffee, and a chocolate bar, and of course, pampering treatments that soothe the body and soul, while focusing on using products that are locally sourced and eco-friendly. You know you've done well when you end your day dressed like this after an hour-long spa treatment. So Brahman Hills, you've been very, very good to me. From sunset spa to wildlife all around me and incredible accommodation, Midlands, I'm definitely coming back. Until next time though, you can follow the adventure on Where Josie Goes using the hashtag, and also find us on social media at The Weekend Edition.
Where's my massage? All right, well, thank you, Josie. You're always there to remind us how close we are to some awesome retreats. On that note, we're going to take a short break. Weekend Edition will be right back.
Still ahead on the Weekend Edition, things get sweet and sultry in the kitchen as celebrity chef Jenny Morris makes a dessert of figs, vanilla, and honey mascarpone.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
Welcome back on our third and final dish, and it happens to be a sweet one, am I right?
It's sweet, and it's going to be a happy ending. A deliciously happy ending, because these are mouth size. They can just pop into your mouth, and I don't think the apple caused all the problem in the Garden of Eden. It's that fig.
It's the fig.
It's the fig.
I agree.
So what we're going to do is very, very simply, very, very easily, just take your fig and slice it down the center like that. Then we're going to open it up. Look at that. Isn't that just too amazing for words? And then we're going to stuff them with mascarpone cheese, which is a lovely cream, and vanilla. Now, the active ingredient here is going to be the vanilla and a little bit of honey. So I'll get mixing, and then you'll all get filling, right? So look at this. Some honey, some vanilla. This is beautiful vanilla seed. A little bit more. Once again, very good for the nerve endings. It finds its way to all the
extract.
special.
It's actually...
No, this is the real deal.
The seed.
So what have they done? Have they put it in a sort of syrup
And
or
a
something?
syrup, yes, just to suspend those beautiful seeds and
Gotcha.
keep them together. And then some honey, and we'll use more of that later. Yes? Give that a stir, young man.
Sure.
But like really give
Really
it a
go
stir,
for it.
yes.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to just finish off the other figs. Marnus,
Yes,
I know you like figs.
I love figs. Love.
And you told me that you're not boring.
I'm not boring.
You're not boring.
No, I'm a
Okay.
little bit awkward here in the kitchen, but...
Don't feel awkward around mummy, darling.
Oh, now I'm feeling even more awkward.
I feel intimidated and petrified. Okay, bring this, bring that a little bit closer.
Yes.
What we've done here is to sort of, you can actually start with this, because once again, lovely watermelon juice. Good for the nerve endings. We've got some sugar syrup. That's going to sweeten things up. Give it a nice long pour into that jug. That's, I'll tell you when to stop. About there, yeah. And then we're going to, oh dear, this is going to knock your socks off. Juniper. Juniper. It's spiritual.
Oh, nice.
It's gin.
How much you, all of it?
Why not?
Oh,
There's a lot of
getting nervous. All of it?
And then the gorgeous lime juice. And then top it up with some lemonade. How are you doing, darling? You good?
I think it looks
It's
pretty
looking
good.
beautiful. Now, what I want you to do for me is, while these children do that, is just pop a little bit of that into the center. Okay, so you come, you do that.
I can do that.
And then I will arrange them on the platter. Oh, yes.
So,
You keep going. Look at those. Yum, yum.
Doing a great job, Marnus.
And then you can pass it around. Do you see, it's all diluted already.
It's all diluted already.
It's not going to one person. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I mean, that's.
What was that? Sparkling water or club?
You can have tonic water. You can have club soda.
Okay.
You could have club. You could have.
Can we taste it?
Of course you can. You're the barman now.
Oh, he doesn't eat meat, but he sure loves his liquor.
Just look at that. Perfect.
Not boring.
Come on, us.
Just
You can do it. You can do it. No need to shake. It's all right.
There we go. And you don't have to overfill it. You can just enough. It's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that.
And why is melon an aphrodisiac again?
Because what it does is it actually gets the blood flowing. It actually relaxes the blood vessels and it facilitates very good circulation.
Okay.
That is why.
Does beetroot do the same thing, or?
I never thought about beetroot as an aphrodisiac. Actually,
Well, no, it's not an
love
aphrodisiac, definitely.
No.
But,
Where's my honey, honey? Where's my honey, honey?
Honey, honey.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Look at chocolate.
There we go.
Okay. How much?
Cheers.
You don't need to be an accountant, but there's
Seven
5 glasses.
7
people.
7 people, and I don't. I'll have some rooibos.
Is this it?
Yeah.
As a glass?
That's for Connie.
Look at my.
Cheers. Are you going to have some, baby?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Connie, this figure's for you. It's got no cheese in it. Cans?
Yes.
Got a special fig for you with no cheese in it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. You keep going, darling. I'm going to honey these up beautifully. Keep that one for Madame Ki. There we go. There's another one. Oh, no, keep that one. We don't want to cut it because it's a little bit soft. And then just some pistachio nut. You put almonds. Once again, also very, very good. Very simple. And
Sorry.
Mark Whip.
the whole thing. He wants the whole thing.
And it's as simple as that. Beautiful. That's a little
He can't even
love
talk.
bite.
Look at him. He's like,
You didn't expect that, did you?
You can solo.
Why not? Wow. There we go. Just very, very simple. Some lovely mascarpone, which is lovely and creamy. The honey, gorgeous nuts giving you texture. And you've got that gorgeous ooey gooey, sticky centre of the fig.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And there you have it. A love bite for the month of love.
So there's a place in Rosebank that's called the Circa Gallery. It is an architectural beauty. If you've seen it, let us know, because Brett went there to see how do you create a spectacular space with basic needs. Let's check out what he got up to, and who knows, I could go there myself.
Small in size but lofty and ambitious in its intentions, Cirque Angelico is an elliptical art building that you simply cannot miss on a northwestern corner in Rosebank. You're driving along Jan Smuts and a finned alien structure slides into view, breaking the monotony of concrete and glass. I'm talking, of course, of the Cirque Art Gallery in Rosebank. Its complex shape and thin facade meant a lot of the building was constructed by hand to achieve a uniform, contemporary art look that echoes the beautiful works inside. Grace, when you're creating this space, it must be so interesting to be here in here. It's such a strange shape, and you've got these beautiful fins. Tell me about the gallery itself.
So it was designed with the idea of being a test space. The directors love nature and natural forms, and it's about exploration and discovery.
So I suppose the obvious features and the ones that really appeal to people are these beautiful fins.
It references a kraal, so a protective structure made of sticks and wood and also natural forms, but protecting something precious.
Protecting something precious, what a beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah.
With this building's strange shape, it must have been really difficult to put it together. I can't imagine like there's this, it's ellipsis, and like that cannot be easy for a builder.
The various parts of this building are all bespoke. The fins, for example, there are 6 or 7 different shades, so each fin is a different color. Yeah, it's a very specific build. A lot of it is handmade or specially commissioned, particularly for the building.
Come into the darkness, Dennis. Come into the darkness. Weekenders, we're now in the gallery space over here, which is really, really dark. You can still hear the traffic from outside, which is so interesting. But I suppose it's because it is an open space. It's a living space. You can feel the breeze. The rain comes in. Tell us about this exhibition, Grace.
So this exhibition is based on a building in Durban, and the building had no electricity, no running water, and it's a social interrogation of the housing problem in Johannesburg. So that's why it's so dark in here. It's recreating that darkness that the artists experienced in that building.
So the gallery itself is actually providing the ambience that the exhibition needs.
Exactly, yeah.
The gallery exhibits contemporary works of art, but has also had technological and archaeological exhibits. The space is also used for lectures and music events. So my three favorite spaces, I mean, of course, there's the gallery space, there's the fins, and then, of course, there's this beautiful rooftop room. Why is this room so much different to the rest of the space? It's all like clean and organized downstairs, and then this room is just full and packed with incredible artifacts.
So we discussed that the building is about exploration and discovery, and this is called the Darwin Room. And it relates to the director's passion for archaeology and nature and discovery. And this is kind of a place for reflection once you've been through this journey of discovery. Yeah.
It's incredible. It's so vibrant and homely even, compared to the concrete and the steel of the outside.
It's part of this gallery. We want people to enjoy it, to feel comfortable in the space, and to spend time here. It's important for us, and it's important for art.
I see you've got an exhibition happening at the moment. Is this always used as a gallery space?
There's always art in this space. It's usually a rotating, informal exhibition of exquisite things. But at the moment, we have a solo show of Tom Pearce's photographs, which fit beautifully in this space because they're also about exploration, and they're based on the horsemen of Semongkong.
And so being an assistant curator, what does that mean in Circa?
So at Circa, I assist the curator, and we go out and find young talents, work with established artists on bodies of work that they're producing, and try and put together an exhibition with them.
That sounds incredibly fun.
Yeah, it is really fun. It's hard work because, you know, artists need time to focus on their work, so we do everything else for them, you know, so whatever they need done, whatever competitions they've entered into or residencies they're going on or any admin, we take that on for them.
What is it you love most about this space, Grace?
I love its unique character. It's so warm and inviting, and we want people to feel comfortable here and to enjoy the space as though it's theirs. It's free to the public, it's for Johannesburg and for the people.
It's free to the public, it's for Johannesburg, it's for the people. Come to Circa, come and see the art, explore this incredible building and all the other incredible buildings in Johannesburg. Have a great weekend, guys.
Wow, interesting space. Tom, I believe that you've had your work put up there at some point.
Yeah, I had an exhibition, The Horsemen of Semongkong, was in the Darwin Room at the top, which is in the Circa Gallery on the top floor with a view over the whole of Rosebank. It's a beautiful space.
Wow,
yeah.
it does sound beautiful. Yeah. Well, if you're at home, hashtag the weekend edition. Is it a place that you would visit over the weekend? Do you like art? Let me know. See you now.
After the break, if you'd like another look at the recipes on today's aphrodisiac menu, they're on the way, and Wouter Kellerman has another stellar performance.
It's a weekend, yeah. It's a weekend, yeah.
Welcome back. We've made our 3 meals and it was interesting. Remember that you can catch everything on Facebook, but if you've missed anything, here is the catch-up.
Our theme in the kitchen today is aphrodisiacs. We made Valentine love bites, seared salmon with pomegranate, avocado, asparagus and lime and watermelon dressing, and figs with vanilla and honey mascarpone. For the love bites, boil some water, add the butter and melt it, sift the flour, salt and sugar, and beat the dough until it's nice and smooth. Add eggs one at a time, and then put it into a piping bag, and you can pipe balls or you can do long ones like eclairs, and then stick them onto a baking tray that's been greased, and bake until it's puffed up and golden. Prick the bottoms of the eclairs to let the steam escape, and once they're cooled, split them and fill them with the Parmesan cream, and then top them with salmon. For the salmon, layer the ingredients onto a serving platter and dress it with the dressing just before you're going to serve it. For the figs, slice the figs 3/4 of the way down, and then press them down to create an opening and stuff with mascarpone. Drizzle with honey and sprinkle over the pistachio nuts. For the full recipe, visit the Weekend Edition on Facebook or log on to our website, www.weekendedition.co.za.
That's right. It's the month of love. Aphrodisiac was the theme. We've come to the end of the show. Thanks to all our guests, all of you for coming to join us. And we'll catch you guys next time. But we won't go without one final performance.
Yes.
From our man, Mr. Wouter Kellerman. Take it away.
This is my version of a traditional Irish march, and I'm starting off with this fife. It's a training flute for little kids. You can get it in the shop for 50 Rand.
right, guys, we are done. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next time. Ta-ta.
Goodbye.